Hello, class. I'm your instructor, Professor Frost. And today I'd like to go over this discussion too with you about teamwork. It's specifically from chapter 27, Communicating in Groups. So the objective of this discussion is that so you all will demonstrate the ability to consider different points of view and to work together effectively as a team. And also to support, of course, a shared purpose or a goal. So you're going to find a solution to a problem and come to an agreement about it. This assignment helps to provide, it says, sharing purposes and expectations for student participation. So we want you to participate actively and engage yourself into these discussions to provide expectations and a sense of cohesiveness while maintaining diversity for each member group. So we want to have inclusivity and also diversity and that sense of cohesiveness. Ensuring accountability with deliverables for both individual and group accountability when assigning group projects. So that means that each student will be graded for their knowledge, their expertise, and contributions to the final product. And how do you get that expertise? You get it from reading your books. That's the only way you're going to get that expertise. So, and I have videos listed in chapter 27 as well. So you do the readings first and then you do your discussion so that, and then in the discussion, there's also a few attachments. So you do that and you'll be good to go. A rubric is provided for the discussion within the discussion board. The challenges of working in groups. Working in groups can be challenging. Of course it can. Because we've got so many different personalities, so many different backgrounds, so many different experience levels and frame of references for what is being talked about because of those experience levels. So we're all different. Different people will have different ideas, of course. When you feel stuck, like you aren't being heard, sometimes that happens in a meeting. You'll feel like your opinion doesn't matter. And that's not true. Everybody's opinion matters. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes when we talk about brainstorming. At times when you feel arguments are happening, follow the 3 simple steps that follow on this slide. Follow the 3 simple conflict resolution steps below. It says here, number 1, facts and feelings. Tell the members of the group how you are feeling. Express your feelings in a calm way. Your opinions and frustrations are valid. If someone else is trying to share their feelings or opinions, stop and listen so that they can be heard. Listen mindfully. Don't let any personal problems get in the way, because I know having corporate experience and working with groups of people, there are a lot of different personalities. And believe it or not, just like with family, the people that you work closest with are the ones that are going to be the ones that cause the most problems. So what do? You just ignore those problems and concentrate on the project at hand. So be sure to always share how you feel in a nice way, but also what facts you see as important, your perspective on the situation. So when we discuss, again, you don't want to bring personal problems into discussions, but instead what you want to do is bring your facts and important information that's going to help to find a solution for that problem. Possible solutions. Here we go. Brainstorm together ways to address the challenges. Remember, I said sometimes you feel left out, or maybe a person is shy and they just don't want to speak up because they're not used to it. Then if that's the case, what we do is we follow a system or a skill that's called brainstorming. So we brainstorm together ways to address the challenges. There are no bad ideas during the brainstorm phase. Get all the potential pathways on the table. Maybe the bad ideas will spark a truly good idea later. So what we do when we brainstorm in a meeting is we all either ahead of time on an agenda, we're asked to bring our ideas to the meeting, so we don't have to spend time brainstorming. But yet too, this brainstorming can bring cohesiveness as well, so it's a healthy thing during the meeting. So you can do it either way. So what we do is we write down ideas, then we bring it to the table, to the conference table where we're at, and then the person in charge of the meeting should call on each person to share their ideas. And so we also have a person that's a scribe. So that person will be at the front of the room, maybe on a big sheet of paper or on a whiteboard. They'll be writing down the ideas that people come up with. Okay, and they'll eliminate some of the ideas that have already been said. And then from that list, then the group will vote on, say, the top 3 ideas. And then out of the top 3, sometimes perhaps 2 get combined. 2 really good ideas piggyback on each other. And then the other idea is just tossed to the side. So that's how everyone gets a chance to speak. But it's up to the person, the leader, to make sure that everything is flowing, the information keeps flowing, because otherwise you won't find the solution to the problem, and you'll be wasting time during meetings. So it's important to do this information. So have specific agreements as a group. Decide on how y'all are going to behave in the future. Be specific what will and will not happen going forward, and avoid vague agreements that people may not understand what they mean. A good agreement outlines specific behaviors and actions and gives expectations on how interactions will happen from here on out. So we look at Tuckman's stages of group development in order to keep the peace and understand the dynamics of working in groups. So what happens is it's a series of, originally it was a series of 4 different stages. So when you start to get together as a group, say you don't know each other, which happens a lot of times, you'll start to form the group. And then during that forming of the group, after a couple of meetings or so, then the group may start storming where they're not getting along very well. The different personalities are coming out, and work's not getting done. So that's the storming stage. So out of that storming stage, we need to normalize the group so it will stop being it's not being constructive, and nothing is getting solved. So then you develop rules from there on forward on how the group is going to behave while they're in a meeting. So once you develop those norms, okay, and rules, then what'll happen is the group starts performing like it should. So it's important to establish rules in the very beginning so that you don't waste time, because all we have is time, actually. I mean, if you go into a meeting and you're not prepared, then you're going to look and be frowned upon because you came to the table and you're not contributing anything. So you have to be a valuable player in the team in order to make the team work. So you can't be the missing piece all the time. So you have to know what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to act, which is professionally, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's at home. You're always on stage. Okay, so you always have to be good and be on your best behavior. So let's move on. So let's look at the group considerations, some needs of group members. A sense of belonging. Everybody needs to feel like they belong. Inclusion of sharing and planning, able to input in forming group policies and procedures. And there's always a need for feedback. Characteristics of effective groups and group members. A dynamic yet informal and relaxed atmosphere, open discussion and encouragement of communication and participation. Constructive disagreements. In other words, we don't want to be accusatory and use you language like you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and blah, blah, blah. You want to use I language. You know, I think your plan sucks. Okay, we don't want to do that. I think that if we possibly did this, then it would be an excellent solution to the problem that we could consider using. So you want to use that I language, not you language. All right. Effective group members express their opinions and contribute ideas to the project. Acknowledge the contributions of others. They listen carefully and mindfully. Suspend judgment until sufficient information has been gathered and respectfully question information presented. They're not offended when others question their input. Once again, if someone questions your input, or if you don't understand something, you can always say, let me see if I understand you correctly. And then you repeat what they've said to you in your own words to make sure that you understand them correctly. Because sometimes maybe we didn't hear the whole thing, or maybe we just didn't understand the whole thing. So this way, if we do that, then we can understand better. And then say, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Oh, that's a great idea. So do not monopolize meetings either. And considerations, once again, use the conflict resolution strategies that I mentioned before. Each team will do the following. Your team is going to choose a time for the next meeting. This could be virtual, or some of my classes, they decide to get together and have coffee someplace and just meet and knock it out all at once. I don't know if that's possible for your groups, but you can do that. You can meet at the library at school. You can meet in one of the empty rooms that they have at school. So you can do that if you want, or you can meet virtually, but you've got to stay on top of it. Virtually, you really have to stay on top of it, and you have to be dedicated to your groups. After you pick a time, ask the following questions. Can I arrive 15 minutes late and still be considered on time? These are your prompts. Can I skip the meeting and call later to see what happened at the meeting? Will we start working right away, or will we hang out and talk first? Have each member of your team individually post an answer to each question. When differences of opinion arise, follow the 3 conflict resolution steps above. Write down your specific agreements about meeting attendance and submit as a solution and attach to the discussion. Check the work for spelling and grammar before submitting. So one person will turn in the specific agreements that I just mentioned in a couple of paragraphs in a Word document and attach it in a response, or to a response in the discussion. Each person will fill out the self-evaluation form that I attach to the discussion and attach it to the discussion. So it's just a little form that is self-reflective for you to think about your participation within the group. So what I'm gonna do also is I'm gonna form groups within Blackboard Collaborate as well. And if you want to meet in there, you can meet in there live if you'd like. And you all can decide on a time when you want to meet there if you'd like, instead of going anyplace. And so you can do that, or you can just discuss within Blackboard, within the discussion. Now make sure that you have participated in the discussion by at least Wednesday, no later than Thursday, so that the person that needs to type up the specific agreements that you came to can type up that document. And then maybe somebody else can check it to make sure that it sounds correct. And then you all will submit it on the due date that I have posted. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me or text me or course message me within the course. All communication takes place within the course under the course messages. So I look forward to seeing your discussions, and let me know if there's any problems. I'll be happy to help. Thank you and have a great day.